Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Callista Solon, and you're watching NLC Trans. Tonight I'm here with my dear friend and co-host, Tara Alexander, who has actually now determined that you really can't snort chocolate. Renee could not be with us tonight, and as well as Stacy, and I think Stacy's going to be out probably for the rest of the season. So it's just the two of us tonight, but you'll have to kind of bear with us. And we have no idea what we're going to talk about, but you have a whole pile of papers in front of you.
Well, you go first.
And I have a chocolate bar. So anyway, I hope you all had a wonderful 4th of July. Certainly we did. It was very, very hot, but it was fun. We had a great time, played a lot of volleyball with my grandson, which was really cool, and went kayaking and got sunburned. If you can see, I'm kind of, yeah, you can probably see that. I'm kind of sunburned. Kind of spent a lot of time in the sun. It was actually fun. We had a great time. You're probably not interested at all in this, but I'm going to tell you anyway because it's what I do. We actually we put in we have kayaks. Tara and I would go kayaking, and we put in at the estuary off Route 12 in Preston there. And went out on the Thames and actually went all the way up to Norwich and up the Yantic River and almost to Indian Leap Falls.
Almost Indian Leap Falls.
Damn near Indian Leap Falls before we ran aground because there's no water actually in the Yantic.
Yeah, we could hear it. We could see the apartment complex under the falls, but we just couldn't make it around the bend. There wasn't enough water.
Yeah, but it was nice. It was very, very hot though. But anyway,
very hot.
It was a lovely 4th of July and it was great. So I hope you all had a wonderful 4th. And next week we're actually going to start having guests again. We have a pretty full schedule, and it's filling up pretty fast. But we've had some rearranging going on. So anyway, it's been a great summer so far.
Yeah.
Garden's going like crazy. And,
very prolific gardener.
Yeah, it's been great. I was out there harvesting this morning. And,
summer squash and zucchini and a dishpan full of cucumbers.
Yeah, they grow so fast. Except that my here we go. I'm going to bore everybody to death. My lettuce bolted, which was apparently due to the heat. Apparently, if you get a lot of really, I'm no expert on lettuce, but my lettuce bolted. It went to seed.
Yeah, it didn't get up and run away.
Yeah. Apparently that happens if the weather gets really hot. The lettuce will do that. It will just, instead of, the head comes apart and it goes to seed. And it's like...
Which basically means it forms a 3-foot tall cone of lettuce.
Which is... Anyway.
We now have cones of lettuce in the garden.
Anyway, so... sorry. So anyway, we're talking about iceberg lettuce here. If anybody out there knows how to... I know that there's a way to fool the lettuce and prevent it from doing that, but I think it has to do with pruning the lettuce. But if anybody out there knows, is an expert on lettuce and wants to tell me how to fool the lettuce into not bolting, you can call up and tell us.
Short of buying 5 pounds of ice a day.
Yeah.
Well, if you put grass around the bottom of it to keep it insulated, shouldn't you put ice cubes around the bottom of it to cool it off?
Yeah, I think what you have to do is just grow it really early in the season or maybe late in the season to keep it from doing that. But anyway, so now that I've bored you all with my gardening and kayaking. Kayaking is fun, though. We had a great time.
And, gosh, nearly 7-foot tall tomato plants.
Yeah, they're growing like crazy. But anyway, so all's well. Got any interesting news items for us tonight?
Are you sure you're done for the hour?
No, no. Oh, by no means. By no means. Don't discount me yet. I'll find stuff to talk about. But
well,
anyway.
there are a number of things that have been happening over the last several weeks, and a lot of times when we have guests, we don't have an opportunity to talk about them, so they tend to pile up.
Yeah, I know.
From last week, most of these are from the Advocate, but Rhode Island Governor Donald Carcieri vetoed a bill that would have expanded the state's hate crimes law to cover victims of crimes based on gender identity and expression. So that's disappointing that our
Yes,
neighbor to the east,
that's very disappointing.
if it gets to the governor's desk, that means that the hard-fought battles have already been done in the House and the Senate, and the governor decides to veto it. It's disappointing. Along those same lines, there was news this week that Governor of Hawaii, Lisa Lingle, vetoed the bill when it came across her desk to create civil unions in that state. So there was a lot of hope, and there was a lot of goodwill for this apparently in Hawaii, but I guess they weren't prepared for the governor to say, nope, not here.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I understand the reasoning behind that, but for either one of them, in fact, especially Rhode Island, a hate crimes bill doesn't make any sense to me to veto that. But not that it makes any sense to veto anything else, but that's just a little more surprising to me, I think.
Well, in this case, the governor of Rhode Island says that the law does not need to be expanded because it already includes crimes based on gender and sexual orientation.
That's obviously we don't get it.
And there's some recourse when you're dealing with gender, but as we've talked about before, for me to file a grievance or file a complaint or have some action taken because of protection on my gender, I have to claim that my gender is male, and therefore what I look like and how I act is incongruent with what people expect for a guy, and that's why they came after me.
Right.
And that's just not right. That's not true.
Yeah.
So there may be recourse for it, but it's in this case it's forcing the victims to sort of to really take a route that's just sort of lying about the reality of the situation.
Right.
On top of which, gender identity and/or expression does go much further than just gender. Gender-based bias is something we've dealt with between men and women for a long time. It's well understood. But a guy getting passed over for raises because he doesn't act enough like a guy. He's not macho enough. He doesn't talk about his conquests, and his boss would like him to, or
Right.
that kind of stuff's not quite the same.
Yeah.
But that was the reason there.
Which doesn't make me happy. But
you do have a call.
we actually have a phone call.
This is our lettuce expert.
Could be, or it could just be Renee, who is not here tonight and has promised that she would call in. So I suspect that this is Renee. But if it's a lettuce expert, that's okay too.
Renee could be a lettuce expert.
Could be, that's possible. Okay, I'm sorry. Good evening, NLC Trans. You're on the air.
Good evening, ladies. How are you?
Hey, Renee.
So, do you know anything about lettuce?
Very little.
Okay.
I'm an expert on that topic. I just wanted to call. I saw this article in the paper, I believe it was yesterday, where Foxwoods expands the gay and lesbian human resource policies.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, I was quite surprised with that.
They actually,
Good thing.
yeah, they've actually done a nice job. I think we talked about them briefly last week with Sally Tamarkin and Jerry Marie Leesgang. They're now one of the sort of executive partners of the Connecticut Gay and Lesbian. Cabo.
Oh, Cabo, the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Mohegan Sun, for the record, was already a member of the Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, and Foxwoods now, like you said, Renee, with this change to their policy, one of the things that they've done is join the Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, which is very good.
GLBT, Chamber of
Yeah.
Commerce.
Yeah. It says it officially recognizes and protects the rights of them.
Yeah,
Lesbians.
it'll be interesting to see it in practice. I've heard a lot of things about both the casinos and some of the biases people face, but certainly making that kind of public statement is a good step, a big step, and as they pointed out, our guest pointed out last week, more and more companies across the state are coming out and adding actual policies to their HR statements, stating that they don't tolerate discrimination against sexual orientation or gender identity or expression.
Yeah.
We commend Foxwoods for their joining the ranks of modern Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a good thing because I know, well, we know there are a bunch of people like us working there.
Yes, there are.
And so they've sort of, not that they were all necessarily undercover, but there certainly were many. And
who are afraid to come out at work, or afraid to
It's
move on with their
gonna make
life.
things a whole lot easier.
yeah, and so that is good. That is a good thing.
And we certainly know what it's like when you work for a company that doesn't believe in that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's not a good thing.
Both of you faced job issues because of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's a very difficult thing. But that is good. That is really, really good news. And so Renee, I wanted to ask you, being that we have you on the phone here,
Yes.
maybe you could, because I'm always confused, and being that you are our guest coordinator, what is our guest lineup for the next few weeks?
Okay. Bear with me for a moment. Okay. Next week we have Priscilla Lowndes. And the week after, I'm still working on that. It's supposed to be Aaliyah Nestaby, the nurse practitioner from Boston University. And I'm hoping to get a person by the name of Heidi Blackmore. She's going to be speaking about how her daughter came out and just came out, and she's going to be speaking on that and a couple other topics that she'd like to speak on.
Yeah.
And then August